In 2022, Travis d'Arnaud put up a career season after a down 2021 and putting up a career season in a short 2020 season. But Alex Anthopoulos, being the GM that he is, went out and got a new young buck in Sean Murphy, a thick Sean Murphy. What does this mean for the future? What does this mean for the future of Travis d'Arnaud, and why did he do this if we already have a serviceable catcher? These questions answered and more on today's episode of Braves Cast. We have a new catching tandem. A new catching tandem. This is something, and I literally am having this thought right now as we're recording, and I wish I did a little bit more research on it. But for the past, I would say pretty much in this new generation of Braves baseball, we've put together some successful catching tandems. 2018 was Tyler Flowers and Kurt Suzuki. 2019 was Flowers and Brian McCann. 2020, it was Travis d'Arnaud.
Flowers and d'Arnaud.
Yeah, the ghost Tyler Flowers did play a couple games in 2020, didn't he?
He did.
And then for the past couple of years, 2021, that was
we had the
mess.
Stephen Vogt game. That's probably one of the most impressive catching performances I've ever seen.
Maybe we should just wing it on catcher, because obviously 2021 we were doing something right by putting Kevin Smith.
The legend of Jeff Mathis.
Yeah, Kevin Smith pretty much was like our catcher for the entire year. But we've had a good track record in the last 5 years of putting together these catching tandems. And this is something obviously most teams do. Catching is incredibly difficult. It's really bad on your knees. I don't imagine, no offense to Travis d'Arnaud, that I don't imagine he has much cartilage left in his knees. I don't think Sean Murphy's going to have much either. Maybe they can bond over that during spring training and also while doing bullpens. But yeah, so what is your take on the Sean Murphy trade first and foremost?
I think before we talk about how good Murphy is, and I think it's an understatement. I think a lot of Braves don't realize just how good Sean Murphy is. We got to talk Billy Contreras. At first, when I saw the Murphy trade go down, my first thought was, why would you trade Contreras? He had like a 140 WRC plus. Defense was a bit spotty, but when you considered the DH and who was the number one catcher in that tandem, Travis d'Arnaud, you would think, Contreras could do 30-40% at DH, 30-40% behind the dish, and then, 20% off. And I really liked that tandem going into this off season. I wasn't expecting them to trade a guy with, a year and a half of service time. But when I was thinking about it more, I realized that if the Braves needed to improve the club, their farm system is barren. And that leaves William Contreras as one of the most tradable guys. The Braves weren't hit big on his defense. He's a great hitter, but he's got a lot of service time, which could be valuable to other teams. And Anthopoulos went out there and got the second best catcher on the market. So if you're going to improve the team and your most expendable guy is a catcher, you may as well go out and get the second best catcher in baseball, right?
Yeah, I think with Sean Murphy, despite the fact that he is the sexiest catcher in the league, he's not really the sexiest player in the league, just in terms of like the kind of value he brings. And we'll discuss this in further detail, but for those of you who are unaware, there are some changes coming to the league in 2023, including pitch clock, which is a discussion for another day. But more importantly, there's new pickoff rules. The pitcher is only allowed to pick off the runner really 2 times, and then the third time, if he doesn't get him, then the runner is awarded the next base. And then in addition to that, the bases are bigger. This is meant to increase action, and there's a lot of speculation in the game that there's going to be a renaissance of the running game of stolen bases, which has seen a sharp decline in the last 10 years, really. And Sean Murphy, when you look at him, he is one of the best in the game, when it comes to limiting the run game. And for me, when I think of the thought process in the Braves front office with making this trade, they saw the writing on the wall. Travis d'Arnaud, he did improve last year when it came to limiting the run game, but he's just never been a super arm heavy catcher. That's never been his strength. And I think it was smart of the Braves to get ahead of the curve and get one of the best defensive catchers in the game. It also doesn't hurt that he can hit. I don't think his hitting's that sexy. Like, I don't think it's going to wow you. I know a lot of Braves fans will see that he, played with the Oakland A's, just like Matt Olson played in the Oakland Coliseum, and they're like, oh, well, his, offensive stats are going to get better. I actually looked at his StatCast. This is actually funny. I looked at his StatCast, expected home runs by ballpark. He hit 18 last year, and if he played all his games in Truist, he would have hit 18. So I don't really think his offense is going to spike by being in a new park, but his stats are still solid. I mean, I'm not the type of year he put up last year. I'm not going to complain if we get that from our catcher.
I mean, he is offensively, if you were to believe that William Contreras' 140 WRC plus is real, which you probably shouldn't. He overperformed his ex-Woba by a lot. 122 WRC plus out of a catcher is, top 5 catcher in baseball as a hitter. And you're talking about a guy who has a phenomenal defensive set. So, I agree with you, Cole, that he's not going to wow you offensively. Like, he's not going to be Mike Piazza reincarnate behind the plate, at the plate. But he's also not going to be, what we saw in 2021 from Kevin Smith. The Braves definitely improved at catcher. The biggest question is how are they going to use the catchers?
That's going to be interesting, and we can talk about that a lot, especially during the left field discussion. I think my prediction is that, Sean Murphy, he played, I know he DH'd a little bit last year too.
I think he played 144 games.
Yeah, 148 games. I think
48 games, yeah.
20 of those he was DHing, or I think maybe more than that. I think he caught like 114 games. I think his usage is going to be similar with the Braves. I think he's just too valuable behind the plate to give him at-bats as a DH. So I think days he's not catching, he's just going to be on the bench. And he could pinch hit, but besides that, there's just too many DHs on the roster at the moment to be able to give him at-bats in that spot. And I think Travis d'Arnaud, this is last year in the extension that he signed, that's just the 2-year extension. I think he's going to edge into a bit of a leadership role. We'll see where his career takes him after his contract is up, but just from what I've seen behind the scenes, it looks like, Travis is becoming the heart and soul of these teams in a way, and I can see him, using this as like soft managerial experience.
Did you see that clip that the Braves posted on Twitter? They asked the players who is most likely to be a manager after their playing career.
TDA.
And I want to say 4 or 5 people, including Travis himself, answered Travis d'Arnaud. So clearly, the Braves team really respects the leadership that d'Arnaud has to offer.
Yeah, and so I could see him taking that soft leadership role this year. He's still uber valuable. I know a lot of people were talking about possibly trading him, which I thought was silly. I think he's really cemented himself in that clubhouse, and even if he doesn't do much on the field this year, it will be interesting to see how he impacts the club just as like a personality, because he's one of the most likable people in the league. I mean, if anybody who's unaware of the type of person he is, just do a quick Google search. There's that clip with D. Strange Gordon where he hit him with a pitch, 60 miles per hour. That's one of my favorite clips from 2022.
I think he's still recovering from that injury.
Yeah,
it was a brutal hit by pitch.
He has to ice it every day. He has Sean Murphy ice it for him. It's a bit of hazing.
That's the real reason the Braves needed another catcher.
Yeah.
That hit by pitch. He's never recovered from it.
He actually had a secret surgery in the off season we don't talk about.
So I'm not from Atlanta. Cole is, but I know a lot of the time broadcasters mention that the Atlanta Heat for catchers is something else. And I don't know. I know Greg Maddux, when he was with the Braves, he refused to have Javi Lopez catch, which kind of made the catching schedule 4 days on or 3 days on for Lopez, 2 days off. But I don't remember, even with McCann catching, the Braves having a guy who was going out and catching, 120, 130 games a year. So even if Murphy is, the same guy he was last year, Braves typically just don't overwork their catcher. Like, there's still going to be plenty of playing time for d'Arnaud
Yeah.
behind
yeah.
the plate, even.
Yeah. And I know this year it's so weird because I feel like this is like the first. I know last year was the first year, but this feels like the first year where there's like no hijinks with the schedule. And I'm actually wrong because last year we had the lockout. So I know that impacted playing time for a lot of catchers and pitchers, especially. It's like for the Braves or for really any team, if there's a day game after a night game, you're not using your primary catcher. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of opportunity for d'Arnaud. And his bat still played last year, and I could see him getting plenty of opportunities at DH. I wouldn't be mad if he was, our 30-40% DH, depending on how, obviously, Marcell Ozuna and Eddie Rosario fare in that role.
I think also a lot of fans who talk about wanting to trade d'Arnaud kind of underestimate how many injuries catchers sustain during the season. If you guys remember last year, William Contreras was not the backup catcher to begin the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
he
Manny
made
Pena.
the opening day roster, didn't stay on very long, was optioned to Gwinnett. The catcher was Manny Pena.
Yeah.
So catchers get injured all the time, and having two all-star caliber catchers on your team is really the best, like backup plan in case of a catcher injury.
That's the thing. It's like they were talking about, obviously our farm is barren at this point. But, they're saying, oh, Travis d'Arnaud is excess goods. We have a full-time catcher, but it's like, no, you need that depth. You're totally right. You need that depth. And we can use this opportunity to talk about Chadwick Trump, who is third on our depth charts. God bless him.
We love him.
You said this offline or before we start recording, but he's making Aruba great again. I'll credit that one to you. And he's a journeyman minor leaguer. He put up probably the greatest performance in Braves history last year against the Marlins. It was the last day of the season, the game, the 14-13 game, the crazy one where. Was that the game?
The Chadwick Trump game, no.
Oh, no?
Took place in August.
Wow. Okay, wait a minute.
We want to
that
backtrack here.
That was a series where we put up, we pitched, Ian Anderson, Bryce Elliott. We pitched basically.
Yeah, that's the series. So,
I thought it was a September.
He was called up on August 6th last season because Travis d'Arnaud had, an injury that wasn't big enough to go on the IL.
Yeah, it was
but
the
they
Pete
didn't want
Alonso
Contreras
slide.
kind of catching alone without any backup.
Yeah.
The Braves played in Boston, and then I think they went to Miami, and they had a doubleheader in Miami to make up for the lockout because no one normally has a doubleheader in Miami. That's just not a thing that happens.
Yeah.
So the Braves started Trump in Game 1. He hits, I think, a double, 2 singles, finishes the season with a WRC plus of 400. In that game, though, he injures himself, but the Braves don't want to pull him out of the game because I think they either had Contreras as the DH or they really needed Contreras to have the day that game off because he had played so many games in a row. I can't remember why, but I think Trump had injured his hamstring or something. He couldn't run, and so after his first double, his next at bat, he drills this ball down the line, but he can't run, so he just limps his way to first, and he gets on with a single. He finishes the game catching. Doesn't come out. He's clearly injured.
He got the Albert Pujols single.
He did, and after that game, the Braves put him on the IL, and he never played another game the rest of the season.
Didn't he get injured the same game Travis d'Arnaud got injured in 2021? Or was that the other guy? Was that that was I think
who was our backup? They both got injured at the same time.
Yeah, it wasn't Chadwick Trump. It was, I think it was a guy
No.
Austin Jackson, not Austin Jackson.
Alex Jackson.
Alex Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah, Darno
We
and
just have the
Jackson got
worst-
injured in the same game,
Yeah.
and so
This
they had
is
to bring up Mathis, I think.
Yeah, this is why you want catching depth, because catchers get hurt a lot. It is a
I think we
very
need
tough
to
position to
pause
play.
and look up how many catchers the Braves had in 2021, because keep in mind, going into 2021, Darno had just won the Silver Slugger. So
That would be a
we're
fun,
going into that season with a great catcher.
That'd be a fun
right?
Sporkle quiz, like a odd one. Just can you name all the catchers who played for the Braves in 2021?
All right, so this is a team that won the World Series. The Braves had
Wait,
Travis
let me
Darno.
let me try to guess all of them.
Okay.
Travis Darno, Alex
Yeah.
Jackson,
hmm
Jeff Mathis. He played for like a game or two. I barely remember.
He actually
but
played three.
Three.
He played 3 whole games. He had
Um,
9 plate appearances and struck out in 5 of them.
Alex Jackson.
Didn't have a hit or a walk.
Alex Jackson. William Contreras, did he catch any
Yep.
games in 2021? Okay. So that's 5. So
So
Travis
you
Darno.
have not mentioned
Wait, how many more do I have to how
one that we have previously talked about off recording, and
Oh.
then one that you probably
Did Tyler
don't remember
Flowers
catching.
catch for us in 2021?
He did not. He did sign
Oh.
a minor league contract, if you remember.
Yeah,
but,
he had like the
uh,
back injury, or he basically just had
yeah,
like a bulging
and then he
disc.
retired.
And, yeah. Who's the
All right,
last
so the
guy?
catcher. Did you mention Kevin Smith in this round?
Yeah, oh, of course I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
you got
I
Kevin
can't-
Smith. So
I
the
can't
last
forget.
one is Jonathan LaCroix.
What?
He played 2 games for the Braves.
Jonathan LaCroix?
Played 2 whole games. If you look, there is the game in where Ronnie gets injured. He and Pablo Sandoval are like watching in horror, and someone is like, "This is the
Holy
Braves' like best team of all time."
Dude, if you literally told me, like, before this, like, Jonathan LaCroix played in 2021, I'd be like, no way. And then you'd be like, dude, make sure you're sitting down. He played for the Braves. Holy shit. I forgot about that.
Let's see if I can find.
I think I
that
just
clip.
blacked out that entire series after the Ronald injury.
We all thought the season was done. It's okay. So that's why you really want catching depth.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
2021, the Braves went in with one really good catcher. They lost the catcher, and then we ended up having guys like Jeff Mathis, World Series champion, Stephen Vogt. Stephen Vogt, you didn't mention Stephen Vogt. World Series champion. The guy had the game of his life. I think the funny thing about Stephen Vogt is that he was terrible for his whole Braves tenure. Then he broke out that referee character that he does.
Mm-hmm.
Went out, hit 2 homers, injured himself, and was done the rest of the season.
I believe
He's
in
one of
Stephen
my
Vogt.
baseball heroes.
I love Stephen Vogt so much. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I had. I don't want to diss on catchers or anything. It's just, to me, like, the least glamorous position. And it's, Travis Darno, he's a fun guy. He's a fun name. I would argue he is, if you squint really hard, he's a top 10 catcher in the game. Like fringe top 10 catcher, but it's like he's got the stuff. Also too, just going to do a little self-promotion here. By this time this episode comes out, I will have a feature talking about Travis Darno on the And That's Baseball video about the top 2013 prospects, the top 10 prospects. So that would be linked down below. You should check it out.
I think
get your
you
Travis
mentioned
Darno
this too.
fix.
I think you mentioned this too previously when we spoke, but one of my favorite facts about Travis Darno is that he was a Mets prospect that never panned out for the Mets. Signs with the Braves, guess what he does?
Beats
Kills the Mets.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think that is truly, that's how you know Travis Darno is a real Brave, is when he goes out, he does terribly for the Mets for, 6 or 7 seasons, comes to Atlanta and beats them.
His time with the Mets was unfortunate, though, because, it was mostly marred by injury. Like, he wasn't performing super well. Like, he had a decent year and half a season in 2014. He also graduated with Shane Dawson, which is something I was
What?
very giddy to learn in my research. Yeah, I mean, according to the research I did, they both were. I mean, they both were in the same. They both went to the same school and they're the same age. So I put two and two together. I'm thinking about like Travis Darno and Shane Dawson like being in the same like algebra two class. It's,
I don't think they'd be in the same Algebra 2 class, no offense.
wait, no offense to who? Wait, no offense to who?
Shane Dawson.
No offense to Shane Dawson.
Maybe offense to Shane Dawson? I don't know. But Cole, who's the most famous person from your high school? Is it you?
God no. Maya Moore. She is a legend for UConn.
Maya Moore.
Yeah. What team?
Went to your school?
Yeah, she was a
Wow.
star. Yeah. Oh yeah. She was like.
She played for Minnesota, I think.
Yeah.
In the WNBA.
Yeah.
Crazy player. She
she's
was
a
one of the
legend.
best players in the NBA, and then decided to quit to pursue social justice. So
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
you got a long way to go to be.
What
one of the
about
best
what about you?
women's basketball player of
Who's
all
the
time.
most famous person from your high school?
Depends on which high school you pick.
Let's do both. Or
The high school that I went to freshman sophomore year, Ryder Jones went to Watauga High School in Boone, North Carolina. He's now in the Braves organization.
oh shit.
He played for the Giants. I don't.
I know that
really
name. Yeah,
anybody else.
I know that name.
Probably the most famous baseball player. I don't know about like famous. Someone he probably doesn't even remember me. But someone I went to like same year as me was a part of Brockhampton's like promotional team.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that I would wager like a good amount of money this dude doesn't remember me, because I was only
What-
there for like a hot second.
Was this what state was this in? Was this Michigan?
North Carolina.
Oh.
This is North Carolina.
Okay.
And then when I moved to the Philippines, the only person with a Wikipedia page who went to my high school is Dan Landry. So, slim pickings. My goal is to be the most famous person from that high school in the bars. I think
Hey,
I can get there.
we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen.
All right.
But yeah, this is
So songs for the catchers.
songs. Yeah. Okay. So first thing we're gonna do an over under.
Oh yeah.
I don't have like like I said, catcher's just not like the most glamorous position. So one thing that I think is interesting, there's a debate between baseball nerds. What's better, B WAR, Baseball Reference WAR, or F WAR, Fangraphs WAR. For catchers at the moment, I look at Fangraphs WAR because I do think framing is more important than we let on, and Fangraphs WAR favors framing. So you'll notice if you're a nerd that there's a huge discrepancy with Sean Murphy. He put up 3.5 B WAR, and then 5.1 F WAR, which is like that's not just like a, simple rounding. I mean that's a significant increase. I mean you go from 3.5 like good player to all-star. So I'm gonna do over under Sean Murphy F WAR, and we're gonna do 5.
I'm gonna go under.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna. So if you guys don't know how F4 is calculated, the DH gets the biggest positional hit, and so I don't know the exact number, but in WAR, if you're a DH, your WAR is gonna take a big hit DHing.
Not as all fair.
I think
in
Murphy
WAR.
DHs more this year than he did last year, just because Darno is there. It is Atlanta. Murphy's bat is still pretty good. But I don't think it's going to be much under 5. I just think that DH positional adjustment hit is going to hit him after playing 40, 50 games behind at DH.
I'm gonna say under, but for totally different reasons. I think his offense is going to go down slightly. I don't think he's really, like I said, I don't think he's going to DH all that much, just in my opinion, because to me the DH position is such a logjam right now. I just feel if he's not catching, I'm not saying he's not going to DH, but I'm saying if he's not catching, he's just going to be on the bench. I also don't think, well, I don't want to say that. I was going to say something stupid about the run game, but I think it's going to be slightly under. I think he's going to regress just a little bit. and his basically his offensive war is going to go down. But I think his defensive war is going to stay the same. But yeah, so moving on to close this episode out, we're doing the songs. So we have, a 3-person catching tandem. When I think the number 3, I think of a lot of things, but I think of the Three Stooges. When I think of the Three Stooges, I think of the 1960s proto-punk band The Stooges. And specifically when I think of this group of catchers, I think of the song Real Cool Time, because it's a real cool time to be a Braves fan, watching this embarrassment of riches that we have, that we refer to as our catching tandem. So that's the song. Any closing thoughts before we conclude here?
If you disagree with us, add us on Twitter, but you have to follow us before you disagree with us. My handle's minsub4.
I'm no more fielders. I was just, I had a brain fart because I was thinking we totally forgot to do introductions. That's who we are in our real lives. We moonlight as the Braves cast. Yeah, please add us. I only respond to death threats. Just so
this is actually the only thing we do. If we're not recording Braves cast, we kind of just sit in a dark room. So by listening to us, we actually have more life than ever because we get to turn on the light at least.
The number that's at the top of the Savant page, it's 41 days or how many days till spring training. I just have that on a giant projection screen, just every day.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't left this room since October 15th or whenever the Braves were eliminated. I've just been sitting here waiting for baseball.